Oh, hi! Today's video is gonna be for all the people that complained about seeing my fat ass back. I think I hear the ice cream man. I do hear the ice cream man. My kids are gonna be so excited if he's actually coming down the street. He hasn't been here in a while. Anyways, what we are really gonna do is, I need some light. Too bad this isn't like a Mercedes hood that goes straight up and down. Uh-oh, ice cream man's here. Better get some cash flow. All right, first things first. Zoom in a little bit. All right, let's see. We get a good shot here. I think more from this angle actually would probably be the best. All right. So you have your coils. We need to unplug those. So go ahead, pull these coils towards you. So what I do is I grab them like this, and you'll see them come on in a little bit. You'll see them move. Because if you just try to get in here and unclip these and rip them off, you're gonna break your tabs. So this one's already broken. Not for me, because I didn't do that, because I know better. So what you do is pull it towards you with one hand, release the thumb tab thingy, and then push it off. That one's broken. That one's broken. This one's not broken. So go ahead, pull it towards, push it off. Man, so that's simple. And then with these coils, just pull up. Pull up. Pull it. Hold up. Put it up, put it up. I'm gonna go ahead and remove the intake. I pull it. This will help you get to your, you have to pull the intake to get to your air pump bolts, vacuum pump bolts. Go ahead and pull that off. And this one is bolted on, of course. It is. Weird. AC filters quite obnoxious. See now. I knew I was gonna hit my head on this thing. Okay. Alright, so I'll go ahead and pop the intake off. Okay, there's a couple things you're gonna have to remove. So I'm gonna go ahead and clip these, get this fuel line. So there's a cam plug here that has the lock on it. Go ahead and remove that. So you have the one for the cam actuator over here. It has a white locking one, so it usually comes forward. So go ahead and pull the white locking tab back, push the connector on, and release it and pull it off. And that's how you do that. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and remove the connector for the high pressure pump, push on, release it's facing down, so you hear that click, and you cannot see what I am talking about. So push it on, release it, pull it off. That's simple. It's a 10 millimeter for this ground, so barely tight. Go ahead, take that off. Then you have this here for the vacuum line. Vacuum line. Pull that to the side. Pull that to the side. Go ahead and pull your high pressure pump, which is held on by two T30s. Two T30s. the high pressure pump straight out. Get your two T30 bolts that you just pulled off. And go ahead and stick your finger in there if you can. And you can pull this follower out. Yeah, you can do it when you undo the high pressure or this vacuum pump. There's another T30 here holding this bracket on. Let's go ahead and pull that off. Give you some more slack. So on the side of the vacuum pump here, so this is your vacuum pump. There's a couple screws going in through this way. So go ahead and just undo these. Go try. What the heck? Who the hell's been in here? Some hack's been in here. Should be 3 of them holding it on. Alright, where the heck are you? Last bolt. Okay. Go ahead and remove your pump. Oh my god. So you have 3 long bolts holding it on. Take those off and then you pull this to the side. And then you also have your gasket here, which I recommend getting a new one because you don't want leaks. And you go ahead and stick your finger in here, slide the hole, and pop this out. This is your roller for your high pressure pump. Okay, I'm gonna take the crankcase breather off now. Hidden ones behind here. And these kind of get stuck on here from the gasket, so just go ahead and kind of pry it up. That comes off. Next, I'm going to work on we'll take this off. So there's a hose for the turbo. So this one, you just go ahead and, squeeze these and then pull it off. And then now I'm going to go ahead and work on the taking the upper timing cover off. So first you gotta take this off. Go ahead and grab it, and I'll show you in a second what I'm talking about here. Let's get this out. So what I just removed is the cam actuator for the adjustment. It's supposed to be loose in here, so that's how it's supposed to be. 3 bolts. Pop it off. That's the connector we took off earlier. pretty easy on that one. Okay. Now one thing that can get a little tricky is removing this upper cover. So move over here. Freaking hate this thing. I love this clamp / hate this clamp. Okay. So you get this coolant line here, which I could probably disconnect. This is one for the turbo. I'm actually just gonna take it off because I don't have any coolant in the system because I drained it. And of course this clamp is upside down. This is stupid. I hate you, freaking clamp. I'll flip this one up. Out of the way. And since I know people get anxiety from having open pieces of the engine, I'm just going to stick it in there. Okay, so you got a bolt up here. So what you have here actually is your dipstick tube. It's kind of a pain to get off sometimes because it has some sort of Loctite on it. And it's like a weird angle too, because this engine bracket's kind of in the way. I hate this bolt. And if you pull the dipstick all the way out of the bottom, you're most likely going to leak oil everywhere if you don't have your oil drained. So just try to leave this in here if you can.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome, Hudson.
Whoa. Whoa, look at this.
Hudson, throw in the garbage. It's right next to you.
Okay.
Okay.
I got a hammer.
The easier ones to get to are these ones. You can either use a T30 or a 10 millimeter. Do this one. Do this one. And then go ahead back here. There's another one. So that's 3 on the top that I'm... Dude, I hate whoever worked on this before me. They just ruined my life. Just get over-tightened everything. It's fucking annoying. Got 3, this one, this one, this one, and the last 2 are down. Throw a light on here. Alright, so now that we got these top ones off, we gotta work on the bottom 2, which are down by this bracket. But if you go ahead and unplug your light, and then you can see, and then you're just slowly getting angry. The hoses on my back.
Coke.
Belle, come on. Get inside. Come on, Belle.
I can't wait to try the Coke.
Come on, Belle. Alright, hopefully my line doesn't explode. I decided to just get a hole in it, piece of crap. So if you can, do yourself a favor, and you can order, this one's just a regular one, but you can order like a long 10 mil, and it'll help you get down to these better. But I just have a regular Craftsman. I mean, it gets down there, but it just kind of is a pain in the butt. I feel like there's more room here than on the GTI, but I could be wrong. But just I use 2 fingers down here and kind of get that one off. So then after you get all those off, you can go ahead and grab your flathead. Stab it through there like a maniac. And some of these might hang up on the thread still because you think you got them all the way off, but you really didn't. See the dipstick? I really just want to pull it out, but it's probably gonna leak all over the floor. Here.
Got another Coke. It's another Coke. Cocoa in the elevator. Coke.
Here. This one's still on there. Kid. Ta-da! And then you have this gasket here, and then there's also a round gasket right here. Actually, there's actually another O-ring in here, but I've never had to replace this one. That's the one for the cam adjuster. So I think we're pretty much ready to take this off now, this upper cover. So now is pretty much the controversial part of, do you set it on time or do you leave it off time? So if you feel comfortable just doing it as is and marking your chains and make sure they don't jump, that's fine. But if you're kind of worried about it, go ahead and get down to the crank. It's a 24 millimeter. So go ahead and you can go ahead and crank this over. Just keep going, because you're never gonna have, because there's these, do they have the timing marks? These ones don't have timing marks. So, oh my god. So what I'm gonna go based off a little bit is, there's these lobes here in the cam. I'll show you. Oh my god, I'm gonna freaking break something. Piss me off. Let's keep going. Oh my god, that felt good. About the rage. So you'll see on here, let's see if I can capture this or not. It's kind of hard. On your camshafts, you'll start to get your timing marks coming up. So there's this one, and then there's this one. So one's like on this one, one's a laser etch. It's like a little orange spot. There's an orange spot right here, and then this one has that one. So what you can do is set the crank at TDC, which is, I forget where the mark is. Probably the one covered in oil that I can't see anymore. Should be right here somewhere. Okay, so I got the crank on time, but it doesn't mean anything for up here, because there's no reference point. Your copper links are gone. So if you want, you can measure from the center of this. So there's this ridge here. Oh, you can see that, yeah. So there's a ridge here, and then the link to know if it jumped at all. So you go ahead and measure. This one is at 70, about 70 millimeters. I forget. You can look them up online, just Google it. So from center of this to this one, 70. And from the center of this to this one is 60. So you got 70 and 60. And if you want double, feel extra good about it, you can go ahead and get some chalk or whatever you want and mark these. But I'm not gonna mark them because I'm a savage. Classy, bluesy, ratchet. So, and also another thing is everybody says, don't you get to take tension off the bottom? You don't have to on this. It'll be fine. So. you want to do is start your way just like the cylinder head. They're all too tight. Most likely a gun, unless you have like a big gun, won't take these off, so I go ahead and crack them loose. I don't know how many there's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I don't even think I'm got that moving. Sorry, I did not realize I had that. Did not have that in frame at all. So I'm loosening these now. I don't know, where is it? 17? Maybe? 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I think there's 24, but the ones that you always miss are the ones right behind the spark plug holes right here. So there's these ones. I got all those. I'm gonna go ahead and get your gat, and then just loosen from the outside going in. So star pattern going in. So after you crack that last one, just go ahead and grab all these. And these say to replace them, but I've reused these and I've had 0 issues. As long as you're not a psychopath, you won't have any issues either. Remove all these. There's some under the PCV, so you have to remove the PCV. You will not get away with leaving it on. And if you also can loosen this and pull it over, but most likely you're gonna get a leak, so you just work a little extra effort to take the cover off. And then, so now that this is loose, go ahead and pull it up. And another thing that a lot of people get worried about is, so the cams, you can see here, I mean, I can barely pull them down. It's weird, just some writing on here. It's super fresh. What the hell? Someone's been in here. The cams lift up from this journal right here. So don't be scared. It's gonna move a little bit. They're gonna move. As long as they don't jump, then you're fine. And they shouldn't jump as long as you don't crank the engine over or do anything crazy. Another thing you have to worry about is, watch out for, is knocking these rockers off. So, grab that. So these rockers here, you can actually knock them off. Some of them are really loose depending where the lobe is. So you can see that one. And you can actually knock these off if you're just in here cleaning. So make sure that, see this one's kind of sideways. You got to make sure that they're all nice and straight up and down when you put it back. Because I've had one walk itself off. It wasn't crazy, it just made a clicking noise. And I went ahead and had to take it back apart though. So now, and then you're also going to need this cam plug here. So the gaskets, you need cam plug, which goes right here. This gasket here for the vacuum pump. Sealant for this. The side cover gasket and the other round gasket. PCV. A little miscellaneous things. But I mean, that didn't take me much time at all, maybe 20 minutes. The oil leaks out like crazy from here too. So this one's actually got a nice puddle down there, so I'm gonna have to clean that up. So now what you wanna do is you wanna go ahead and start cleaning all this up. So let's see if I can set up here. So what you wanna go ahead and do is get a bunch of towels, paper towels, and then you can do it like this, Hi. Did it open for you? Did it open for you? Sick. So you can either, this is kind of the suckiest part of the whole job, is getting this stuff off, because it's pretty hard. If you want to be a savage, you can use a buzzy wheel. It's up to you. You're going to get a million particles in your engine most likely. So just go ahead and be weary of that. Or you can mask your engine on. It's up to you, honestly. You can do it any way that you would like. Just make sure you protect your things. So now I'm going to go ahead and scrape this off. And it's going to be super freaking exciting. Let me tell you. You can also get these, which are really helpful. This is a, these are little gasket scrapers. This one's small. This one's a little too fat for most of it, because the problem is you go here. There's a lip right here. You can't really see it, but there's a lip right here. So if you try to scrape, I think it might be the other piece. I don't remember what it is, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. But these help too. And so on and so forth. So this one's a nice little one for the track that it rides on right here. And this doesn't have to be completely spotless. Like, you don't have to make it down to the machined material. You can go ahead and just do your best. Get the major big chunks off. And then, yeah, just scrape like that. So you have this path back here, and you also have around all the spark plug holes. So I'm gonna go ahead and scrape, and then scrape. It's gonna be great. All right, so this could also be under debate. I don't really care. They use anaerobic sealant or the green $80 crap from Volkswagen, but you can actually just use anaerobic sealant from like AutoZone, just the red stuff or whatever, wherever your parts place is. But I have the black, and I have good luck with the black. I do it all the time at Mercedes. It's literally the same freaking thing. I believe in this more. But the problem is, if you go ham, like if you're too crazy, like a psychopath, like I've been saying. So, I don't even know how wide this tip is open right now. So let me start some out. So, that's a pretty big bead right there. That's probably about, it's hard to tell. I'm just looking at it. This looks like a turd. Let me try to get this paper. So they say like a 1 mil bead, plus or minus whatever the hell. So this bead here, this paper's gonna move probably. That's probably just beyond thick enough. So if you can see, compared to the paper, the lines on the paper, and this is probably about, it's not this crucial, but just to give you an idea of what not to do. So this one's about, this is 3 mil. So I always go about 2. It's so impossible. The tip's way too big on this. But just don't be this guy going like, that's way too much sealant. That's like 10. Let's see where we're at here. Yeah, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 6 mil. Way too big. So go ahead and make sure you cut your tip small, about that big. I like to wrap pliers around mine. And then you can go ahead and manipulate this however you want to make it easier to reseal. I don't know if you can see me at all actually. So this stuff I think they want the techs to use anaerobic because this stuff can get dangerous if you use too much, and they probably just don't trust them. Because no matter what you do, someone's gonna post and say that's trash. So, like I said, just do the best you can. Just don't freaking use the whole tube. This is getting a bit thick. Ooh. And what just occurred to me, I didn't show how to clean this out, so I just use a pick and get in these little galleys and then just scrape it off. Ooh, this one looks terrible right here. Yeah, the tip on this is a little too big, but I'm okay with that. And go ahead and do a little bit here too. This one I'm going to smash down. God damn it. This looks terrible. Trust me, it'll be fine. Go ahead and do the circles around the spark plug holes. That one guy smashed down. Well, I touched it. So these ones are hard to get pretty because you kind of got to touch them. So this one's not too crucial, the ones that are on spark plugs. I'll show you why in a second. I mean, it is to get sealed, but as far as how big the bead is, I'll show you why it doesn't really matter. Then go ahead and take a look at your lifter, your followers or whatever, the rollers. Make sure they're all seated. All mine are in place. And then go ahead and get this thing ready to seal. So I'm going to pressure wash this whole engine off. I forgot to do it first, which would have made this a little bit easier. Okay, so we're there. grab your 900 volts. And it's just like a cylinder head. You start from the middle and you can work your way out. So it won't, you'll never get it to sit flush because the cams are holding it up right now. Obviously this isn't the approved way to do it, but this is the, you know, least amount of work here. I'll look up the torque spec here in a second after I get all these in. Okay. Go ahead and start from the inside. I recommend not doing this by hand, but you don't need, like I said, you don't need to beat this thing down. You just need to get them going, because this will take forever by hand. I'll show you guys what and girls. Go ahead, see so as you start bolting these down, like a minute ago you put this one flush, but obviously it's not all the way down, so it's not going to be all the way flush. So go ahead and you can turn it, so that's pretty much, that's flush, push down all the way. This one came out. So you can see the silicone. The silicone's starting to squirt out a little bit, which is normal. And you kind of tell when you're done tightening these because they always feel kind of like, see, that one's like mushy feeling, like almost like you're about to break it, but it's still pulling it down. So these are all pretty much getting to their bottom. So you can see I already went over these ones earlier, but now that it's down more, so I thought I had my 1/4 inch torque wrench here, but I don't. This is a 3/8. This is way too big. Anything above if your 1/4 inch torque wrench isn't this small or around that size, just stop what you're doing. Don't try to torque it and be like, it didn't even click. That's because it'll never click if you set this all the way down to what it's supposed to be. I believe it's like 8 Newton meters. Oh, so actually the thickness of, they want 2 to 3, so that's different than Mercedes. So I was about right, 2 to 3 with the tip that I had cut. And the cylinder head must be within installed, whatever. Where are we at here? I'm trying to find the torque spec. Okay, well I pretty much know. These are gonna be like 8 Newton meters first and then a 90 degree. So this is not gonna work. Do not do this. Only use a 1/4 inch torque wrench on this or do it by feel. I see so many people say when they tighten them, oh, it didn't even click and it broke. What a bunch of piece of shit. You can't torque down a tiny ass bolt with this big ass. This isn't even a half inch. A half inch one is. Okay, this is a half inch. This is a 3/8. And this is pretty much how small your quarter should be. Just because you put reducers on here to make it fit these bolts doesn't mean it's okay. It can go down that far, but not on that tiny bolt. You're gonna break it. So I'll go ahead and show you about what 8 Newton meters is. So now they're all there, you just turn them till they're snug. I'm not doing this with one hand until they get snug. This part isn't that crucial as far as making sure you don't go over the same bolt twice, because obviously you can torque the same bolt as many times as you want to 8 Newton meters or whatever it's going to be. All these are where I need to be. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the 90. We're using the same bolt. It's roughly a 90. It's not scientific, but I've been doing this so long, got a pretty good feel for it. Okay, now that that's full, take a paper towel and go ahead and stick it in the spark plug hole and get all that RTV off there. Because if you put your spark plugs in when this is, you're gonna have a hell of a time getting them in after it dries. You can do this with whatever sealant you decide. Just stick your finger in these spark plug holes. It's going to dry up, and then when you put your coil in, it'll be all on the side of it. And with this stuff, it's pretty sticky stuff. So that's it. Pretty much in a nutshell. Don't forget this round one. I go ahead and I reuse this. What I do is I just take some, okay, break the top off this thing. And I take some silicone on my finger, seal it, and then I just go ahead and I run it around there, make a nice little bead, and stick it inside. Because if you put it together and forget this, you can't get this back in without taking the pump back off. And that's it. It's sealed now. Go ahead and put it all back together. I think I actually have some of the gaskets. Let me check. Went ahead and turned up the brightness a little bit, see how it comes out. So I'm going to stick this back on. I put this new gasket here and then the new one here. Just be careful when you're putting it on that you don't snag it on something and then roll it over like that. It's pretty common for people to do. So just go ahead and stick her down there and be careful. Oh, you know what? Get out of here, freak. something I forgot to do was put the extra on those seams right there. Let's go ahead and take a little bit of a fingerful of jism there. Actually, that one dried yesterday. It's kind of hanging out there, so I'm gonna go ahead and rip that off, make it flush again. Okay, I'm gonna head it now. Those two seams, and then like I said, be careful when you put this on. Go ahead, stick it down here. Bottom bolts like to just push out, so you can just get like a flat head and kind of push them in a little bit. I mean, they only go in a tiny bit. I like to thread the bottom ones first. They are like sucky ones, sucky ones. So you should thread in pretty easily. You shouldn't have to fight it. If you're fighting it, the frick. If you're fighting it in, you shouldn't. If you're fighting it in, if you're fighting it, threading it in, then it might be a little crooked. So one thing that helps is if you have to shift this thing a little bit left to the right, left or right. So I got the bottom one there. That one's almost done down there. All my silicone's dry from yesterday. Hard as a freaking rock. Not hard rock. I'm gonna fight the dipstick again. It's gonna piss me off. I don't want to break it. You should be able to just thread these in using your fingers. Hey, Bill. What do I do with my ratchet, dog? In front of my face. So now that I got the bottom ones on, can't see anything. There. You don't want to manipulate this too much because you can also snap it as much as you're going to hate it. Kind of got to work around it. And I'm gonna get this one over here. Then I'm gonna take my wrench and I'll finish off those bottom ones. Sorry, there's not much to look at here, so. Not much to see here, just me and my hands. Okay, I'm pausing this. Okie doke. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go the magnet in. What you won't do for love. You tried everything, but you don't get love. Bow, 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 bow. My T30. Okay, so I found my 230. And this one, the one that's annoying next to the motor mount, it's like the shinier T30. I don't know, it has like a red Loctite on it. I don't understand why. Where did they think it was gonna go? Okay, see, that wraps up this side, so I'm gonna go ahead and move over to the high pressure pump side. Take a journey with me over here. Let's see what we got going down here. Shit. I wish that it could just not come loose. What is the purpose? Doesn't it? Okay, when you put this gasket on, it has like these little tangs here. So the tangs go into the high pressure pump. You'll see them sticking off a little bit. See those little tangs? So it'll make it so it just kind of goes into the high pressure pump and sticks in there. And if it doesn't hold, sometimes it doesn't like to hold. What you can do is just bend those tabs out a little bit, and then it'll give you some, put some tension on it so it stays in there. So I like to use some of the silicone here on this edge and on this edge. Oops. Where the top half meets the lower half. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just stick some on here because this thing just loves to leak. Just doing a thin layer. So this isn't, I have to reuse this gasket or else I have to wait another day to get anything done. So I'm just gonna super thin coat. Okay. Okay, now it's time to put the high pressure pump on. So here you can see that there's a thing here and a thing here. So that has to go into the camshaft a specific way. If you just try to ram it on, it's not gonna work. So what you can do is stick your finger in here. So the lobe on that, so the lobe on this camshaft right now, or the slot, it's slotted up and down. It's probably like up to 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And then the inside pump part turns super easy. So it can just rotate when you have it off. So it might not be ready to go when you put it back on. So what you can do is stick your finger in the hole and spin it until it goes on. There it goes. So mine went on. Grab your T30. The other one in the back has this little bracket on it too. So don't forget this bracket. It's just a little, holds just this vacuum line basically in the harness. So that'll go on at the same time. Okey-doke. Okay, now we can put the high pressure pump in. So don't forget your follower, which has this tab on the top right here that goes on the top. So go ahead and put the rolly side to the pump. Should just go right in. Once you get it lined up, it'll just, see? Go ahead, take this, your high pressure pump, and stick her in there. So for putting the high pressure pump on, you have to kind of like walk it on. Shit, I need an extension. Because if you just tighten, say you just do this one bolt and then you tighten it, like, it's cockeyed right now, so it has a gap here. So if you tighten this all the way, it can snap the shaft, and then you're out of a high pressure pump. So what you do is start the bottom one, and sometimes you can push to fight the spring pressure, but if you don't feel like pushing, then you can just do a little bit at a time. You can do it by hand, or if you're not comfortable with the gun. Okay, and there's this one for this bracket here. And then so this harness will come up on here and go inside there, and then you have this ground that comes up here. And there you go. So there's the last ground, and then you just put your PCV on, your coils, spark plugs, whatever you took out, and yeah. So the next thing I'm going to work on is the turbo on this, but I already have a video on that, so I'm just going to do that one solo dolo. It's falling. It's falling, it's falling, falling. I hate this thing. Like, I like this camera holder, but I hate it at the same time. Alright, I'm blown out. The glove going up on a Tuesday. Alright, so I hope this video helps anybody that's doing this. I obviously remade it because the last one sucked. If you don't like it, I don't care. Leave a thumbs down. If you do like it, leave a thumbs up. And if you have any witty comments, go ahead and leave them below. Tell me how stupid I am. And this, and that, and this, and you know how it goes. I don't care. Alright, peace out.